Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Mon. That is Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. Right before we went on air.
That's the right finger, Eric. That's the right finger, young man.
Eric is very feisty already tonight. I'm just telling you, Bengal fans. Mon got the "you're number one" from Eric. I think that was I think that was for the comment of last week about us replacing Eric and you holding up a blank sheet of paper with all of the.
I got the list. All
right. Well, Hooday, Bengal fans. We are unfortunately not live with you. Obviously, we are filming this thing last night, which is tonight, which is Monday night. We are filming this Monday night, but we did want to go on and talk a little bit about the Trey Hendrickson news. We have the first round of Bengal cuts. So we have a lot to talk about. Before we do, Mon, really quick, man, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm very good. Really excited. Football season's going to start. I just got back from Massachusetts. I was up there for about a few days with the family, getting my daughter situated for second year of school up there. And Massachusetts is beautiful. Some of the best food. And if you're in the seafood, that's the state you need to be in. Some of the best food I've ever had. And we flew in last night back home and getting ready for cut down day tomorrow. And I'm more interested about the waiver wires because I expect our Bengals to claim a lot of players. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I think they will.
I agree. And I just got to tell you guys, all of our listeners out there, first of all, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Again, if you guys like this podcast, make sure you like and share this podcast. But I just got to tell you guys, I was at Mon's house, Eric. This hopefully you'll get this, Eric. But we were at Mon's house watching the Bengal game, and Olivia, his daughter, who he's talking about, he drove up to Massachusetts. She had all of her stuff in when you walk into Mon's house and you walk through the hall, the kitchen's on the left, and then there's the open dining area where the bedrooms go back. She had all of her stuff packed. And I tell you, it gave me flashbacks to Spaceballs. Did you ever see Mel Brooks' Spaceballs, Eric?
Yeah.
You remember the druid princess?
Yeah.
She has like those huge trunks with the I don't know, car size hair dryers and stuff. Literally, that is what it looked like Olivia's trunks and mine. I wish I could have watched Mon packing that car. I'm telling you guys, I have known Mon for a very long time, and I'm telling you, there is no doubt he was crashing out and losing his shit trying to pack all that stuff. I mean,
it wasn't that bad, believe it or not. It really wasn't. The drive up there was rough, but when we got there, unloading that and getting her apartment ready, everything was fine. But I tell you, the driving up there sucks. That's different than Florida. But
Eric,
there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff in my house.
Eric, that was the size of a small love seat. There was a trunk, and I said, Olivia, what the hell is in there? And she goes, "Those are my shoes." I said, "Your shoes?" I mean, it was literally the size of a love seat, and I could just see Mon in my mind just dragging this love seat full of shoes. Trying to put it in his car.
Oh
God, Spaceballs.
He's gonna love watching this show tomorrow.
They're redoing Spaceballs. They're redoing it.
Yeah, and they I guess Mon's coming back to play the John Candy role. Is that what's going on?
Gonna be,
you're gonna have to start eating some donuts, Mon.
What was Barf, right? Barf.
Yeah. And that would be Princess Vespa would be Olivia's character. So,
yeah, Princess Vespa.
Shout out to
that's great.
Princess Olivia.
Good stuff. All right, so hey guys, let's get to this crazy Bengals news.
Before we get to that news, can I want to just give out a real big shout out before we got a lot of Bengals news, but I haven't been on as many of the podcasts lately. But as some viewers know, my son was trying out for the golf team. I got to give a shout out to Austin because he seriously started golf in March and he spent all summer working his butt off to make the golf team. Officially made the Merritt Island High golf team on Friday. So I know we got a lot of news to get to, but I have to just say how proud I am of him making the team. Huge shout out to Austin grabbing onto my favorite sport. We're all Bengals fans, but I'm a golfer first, so just had to take a moment to do that. Now we can get to the big news. So go ahead, Jake.
Well, congratulations, Austin. That is awesome. All right, let's
That's awesome.
talk about
Congratulations to you.
Trey Hendrickson, right, guys? So this is something that, guys, we have known for weeks now that the Bengals were good on money. They were good on years. We find out today they offered a 3-year, $95 million deal to Trey. But Trey has been saying all along that the guarantees were not there. And now we get to this point where today we find out that the Bengals have restructured Trey's deal, adding $14 million on. So now the base, guys, becomes officially 1 year, $30 million deal. So the hold in for Trey Hendrickson is now officially over. Again, I know we're all going to talk about this here in a minute and give our opinions and our responses to it. But Trey now becomes the 6th highest paid defensive end for 2025, the 6th highest paid at the base of $30 million. I think there are escalators and stuff like that we kind of talked about off the air because there's been some confusion with it. Mon, let's start with you. 1 year, $30 million. There it is. Thank you very much, Eric. He falls in right under Nick Bosa at $30 million a year base. What are your thoughts, Mon, when you saw this originally, that now Trey is going to be a Bengal in 2025, but now it's only a 1 year, $30 million deal? Thoughts?
Well, I'm glad it's over with. It was reaching the annoying phase. It's been a very long process. It's been contentious, and it should have never come to this. It should have been taken care of much sooner. But hey, he signed. The Bengals pretty much forced him to bet on himself. He gets a $14 million raise. So, he was under contract. So the Bengals could have played ultimate hardball and not given him any new money. But, $14 million extra dollars, that's a nice chunk of change. Did I want it to be a little longer than a 1 year deal? I did. I was hoping at least 2 to 3 years. I'm trying to find out. Jordan Schultz says that there is no language in there where the Bengals can franchise him if they want to next year. So if that is the case, that's a good thing, because you know what, the Bengals could, franchise tag him. It would be 35, close to $40 million from what I've read. It's being reported if they did do that. Hey, if he gets 17, 18 sacks, they could easily do that. So guess what? All this, $30 million money guaranteed in year 2, that'd be $70 million over 2 years. So, both sides win in that case. So the Bengals get that security. If he falls off a cliff, he doesn't have a productive season, they don't have to pay him next year. Guess what? If he just dominates and gets another 15 to 20 sacks, they tag him. So I think it's a win for the Bengals. It's a win for the Bengals. And hey, Trey gets another $14 million. How can you complain about that?
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for sure. Eric, your initial thoughts on this deal, and I think Mom brings up some good points that we need to talk about. But what's your initial thoughts on this deal?
Yeah, it's frustrating because Trey said all along that he wanted long-term security, and it's frustrating that we hear that there was a 86 or $96 million deal on the table, but year 2 and year 3 wasn't guaranteed. I don't know. For me, it's hard to think about someone who wanted long-term security, but then turns around and signs a 1 year deal. I do get that 1 year deal kind of does give you some security. You're getting guarantees this year. And listen, he essentially guaranteed his contract for next year. if the Bengals want to have him around, they're going to have him on the franchise tag, which is going to be $37 million, dollars, 120% of what he makes this year. So he kind of is guaranteeing himself money next year. But it's just frustrating because I wanted Trey Hendrickson to retire a Bengal. He's not retiring a Bengal at this rate. Seeing how he held out this year, I don't see him playing under the tag next year. I think at best we have trade this year and we get to trade him for a second next year. I will tell you this though. It is an all-in mode for the Bengals. We've been screaming all offseason that the Bengals have to be in Super Bowl or bust right now. To me, this finally shows that a little bit of urgency because they knew they weren't getting a long-term deal. They gave him money now instead of saying, "Hey, play under your $16 million contract." They upped his salary. They got him to be happy. They got him to be in the room. Super Bowl or bust this year. This is Trey Hendrickson's last year.
I am gonna say something, and I don't know if this is Trey's last year. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's the one thing that first popped into my head. Obviously, I was disappointed it was only a 1-year deal after seeing 3 years offered. But the Bengals they really did win this deal. And I'm going to tell you, it's a lot because of what Mon said. And that is that this situation now becomes where this is a money year for him. So this is not a situation where, Trey is going to be making business decisions and all those sort of things. This is a situation where Trey Hendrickson is trying to get that last contract, and the Bengals still have the upper hand when it comes to this last contract. Now, again, I'm with Mon. I didn't see any wording about the Bengals not being able to tag Trey, but if they're able to tag Trey, the Bengals have won this deal as far as I'm concerned, because like Mon said, if Trey goes out there and gets 17 sacks again, the Bengals now can franchise tag him. They can guarantee him that money, or they can sign him maybe to a 2-year deal and put more guarantees in there, or they trade him, still get something out of it. So again, I don't know if the Bengals would do that, but I would almost think that if Trey comes out and balls out this year, there's no way the Bengals just let him walk away. I just don't see that happening. The Bengals don't do those kind of things. So again, I think this is a win for the Bengals. And I also want to say this. The Bengals have been given a lot of hell saying that they couldn't sign all these guys. Well, they did. And I think that's kudos to this front office for getting all of this done. Like you said, Eric, the Bengals trying to go all in this year. We all knew without Trey that was going to be very difficult with the way this defense has looked. So I want to give some kudos to the Bengals front office for making this all happen. That's a lot of money that was thrown out this year from this Bengals front office to Jamar, T, Gesicki, Trey, and kudos to them.
Let me throw this out because I'm just reading a quote from Trey Hendrickson, and I get you guys' opinion on it.
Got some breaking news for you.
Go ahead.
Kenny Pickett got traded to the Raiders. Kenny Pickett's leaving the Browns and going to the Las Vegas Raiders.
One less Super Bowl winning quarterback in the AFC North. So relieved. So Trey Hendrickson had a quote on the Bengals website that gives me a little bit of optimism for next year. He says, "We're taking it one day at a time. Moving forward, we'll figure that out as it goes. For this season, to be given a raise I didn't necessarily have to be given, it's a blessing to be in a position where I've been brought up to my peers and being able to get quarterbacks. I love this city. With what's been happening the last couple of months, I've had time to reflect on what it means to me and how much I want to say a Bengal for the 2025 season." To me, that's leaving the door open for still getting an extension. I know the Bengals don't do that in typically during the season, but he's not slamming the door shut on being a Bengal next year when I read that quote. Mon, what do you think about that?
I think it's great. And I was thinking about Trey. He's made over almost $85 million as a Cincinnati Bengal.
Yeah.
When they took a chance on him. When they took a chance on him, remember, I mean, I was one. I mean, I'm just I'm not I'm a fireman that has, it's on a podcast. I thought it was a bad signing. I wanted Lawson to stay. I thought he was a creation of that great defensive line with the Saints, and I was wrong. And a lot of NFL national pundits were like, hey, that was an overpay. $50 million for Trey Hendrickson. He's a fine player, but that's an overpay. Bengals did it. They gladly did it, and they look great for doing it. He's a great player, and I'm glad he's here. I would not be stunned if they tag him next year and he plays for another $35-40 million. I want to push back a little bit, though, Jake, on something you said. Yeah, they deserve a lot of kudos. Chase, no-brainer. We knew that was going to happen. T, with what Joe said at the end of the season, we felt really good about that. Noah Fant, great signing. Gesicki signing him. They really, really did a lot of good things, and hats off to them for doing it. Did they do enough? We're going to find out here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We really are going to find out in a couple weeks, because as great as our offense was last year, we had some really weak positions that caused some issues. We're going to find out soon enough if they did enough. But somebody mentioned this. I think it might have been Joe Goodberry. I read his tweet earlier. They spent all this money, and they did, but they structure their contracts. They could have saved some salary cap space. Not that they needed it, because they had $30 million in salary cap space, but they could have freed up some money on these big extensions with Higgins and with Chase and Gesicki and even BJ Hill. But they don't structure their contracts that way. Could that have been another couple guards or safeties or players that we're going to be looking for on the waiver wire here in a couple of days? I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm hoping everything works out at those weak positions. I know something that is going to work out, and it's this Bengal offense.
Well, and I want to be clear. I wasn't saying they did enough. I was just saying that they got the big three signed when everybody said they couldn't sign them. I just want to make that clear. I did not say that they did enough. I don't know if they did. We'll see. Like you said,
you're right. A lot of people said there's no way they were going to do it. You're absolutely right, and they did it.
And Burrow basically said they were going to do it, right? He went on live television and said they were going to do it. Jordan Schultz did post this. My understanding is the Bengals did not give Trey Hendrickson a no-tag clause in his 1-year, $30 million deal. So, again, the tag is on the table. Obviously, that's not something that we want to be the case, but I'm with Mon here. I would not be shocked if Trey goes out and balls out that he is a Bengal next year on maybe a tag for $35-40 million for next year. And in that case, it does end up being a win for the Bengals and a win for Trey Hendrickson. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the good news is, guys, Trey Hendrickson is a Bengal this year. What we thought was going to happen weeks and weeks and months ago now officially happens. And remember, guys, Joe Burrow said this a couple days ago. He said, remember, this next week is the week when these things get done. Joe Burrow said this was going to happen this week. And sure enough, Monday, Trey Hendrickson is a Bengal. Not that he wasn't, because it was just a restructure, but he's officially going to be suiting up for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2025. And thank the Lord for that, because this defense needs him more than ever after watching them this preseason. Guys, let's talk about some of these cuts, these first day cuts. I don't think there was anything really surprising with any of these cuts, and we're going to talk about these in just a second. Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Again, if you love this podcast, make sure you like and share. Subscribe to this podcast. We would really appreciate that. As I'm saying that, Eric is going to be pulling up now the 11 players that have been this first line of cuts. I'm not sure if everybody can see it. I'm going to go ahead and read them off for our listeners. Here we go, guys. Cornerback, Nate Brooks. Wide receiver, Cole Burgess. Running back, Quail Conley. Safety, Shaquan Loyal. Wide receiver, Rashad Owens. Center, Andrew Ram. Corner, Lance Robinson. Guard, Andrew Stuber. Quarterback, Peyton Thorne. Linebacker, Craig Young. Defensive tackle, McTelvin Ajum. And defensive tackle, Taven Bryan. Now, as we go through that list, guys, obviously most of the guys on that list, we knew this was going to kind of that this is what it was going to look like, right? Obviously, Andrew Ram and some of those other guys they brought in, Taven Bryan ended up being on that list. Guys that they brought in to fill out roster spots. I think Ajum was on that list too. Mon, any surprises on this list for the first round of cuts for the Bengals?
Well, I mean, Taven Bryan, I thought he had 50-60% chance of making it. He's had multiple NFL starts, 30-plus NFL starts. He was a first-round pick, and you know what? He is who he is. He's not an elite NFL player, but you know what? If one of your guys gets hurt or needs a breather, having a Taven Bryan come in that has over 30-plus starts might be in the 40s. I was trying to research it while you were talking, but he's 30-plus starts in the NFL. Man, I mean, that's pretty solid. We saw last year when our depth was a real concern on that defensive line when we had that rash of injuries. I thought he had a chance of making it. I know there's some other drama going on there with his wife and everything like that. I just hate some of the comments I've seen on social media about that. We need to be better, but I'm stunned. I thought he was going to make that team, and he didn't, obviously. Now, some of these other guys you mentioned, some of them could be practice squad candidates. At McTelvin Ajum, the defensive tackle, they picked him up. I think he was with the Broncos. It was a third-round pick.
Yeah,
maybe he could give him another opportunity to potentially develop on that practice squad. I know they really liked Shaquan Loyal. I think he was out of Rutgers, if I'm not mistaken. They really liked him a lot. I'm stunned Peyton Thorne didn't make the team. That's a joke. The quarterback.
That is nice, Mon.
Yeah, I know.
Tell better jokes, Mon.
That's a bad joke. It's a dad joke. Tomorrow is going to be the real interesting one. I'm really, I know I mentioned this a few minutes ago. Wednesday afternoon is going to be the big day to see who, if they put in waiver claims. I think the Bengals have the 15th, 16th in the order for waiver claims. So, I could see them putting in 4 to 5 claims, maybe getting a couple of guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. And, there could still be trades. Trades are popping up now. We just talked about Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Never know. But, yeah, none of them really surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Taven Bryan, again, I'm not going to say what I said earlier about Mr. Cross, but because good Lord, I caught some hell for that one. But again, I'm going to be very interested to see if Cross makes this roster over a Taven Bryan, a guy that's got 30 or 40 starts. I'm going to be very interested to see, Mon, if Mr. Cross makes this team. If he does, I don't know if we've seen enough from Mr. Cross. I don't know if there's a big enough sample size. And again, I know he's Al Golden's guy, but I'm very interested to see how this roster shakes out tomorrow, because I'm really surprised about the Taven Bryan thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying I'm surprised that he didn't make the team, but to be in the first round of cuts, I think is very surprising because, again, I'm not sure of any guy that's not on that original list that we came up with, that there's any guy that, you would pick over him. Let me ask you, Eric, any surprise cuts? Are you guys getting feedback?
I'm not.
I'm getting some feedback. I don't know. It's weird. Any surprise cuts? Any surprise cuts, Eric?
Not yet. No, I think the surprise ones are going to come tomorrow. Taven Bryan is a surprise. Mom told us all ever since we signed him that that's the guy. That's the depth piece. To me, it makes you wonder if they're more sold on McKinley Jackson and Chris Jenkins. They're really happy with what they saw out of Chris Jenkins. I don't know. I have to go to Mon on this. How many defensive linemen do we normally keep? Is this more we're keeping another defensive end, and that's why we're letting him go, or is this really Howard Cross is their guy and he's going to make the 53?
I don't know. A lot of teams do that. They say, hey, we're going to let you go. We plan on bringing you back week 2. It's going to be some roster gymnastics there. They normally keep 10 defensive linemen. Sometimes they go with 9. 5 and 5 would be optimal. 6 and 4. I don't know. Since Trey Hendrickson signed, it's probably going to go back to 5 and 5. How much is he going to give us? Are they going to give him a lot of breathers there? Because he's been at camp, but he hasn't actually practiced. So that's going to be something to monitor. I think they're going to go 5 and 5. At the defensive tackle position. I think it's going to be important because I'm going to tell you right now, the Cleveland Browns are going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball a lot on the 7th. They want to keep Joe Burrow on the bench. So our defensive tackles, it's going to be a hot day, first game of the season in Cleveland, hostile environment. They're going to have a lot of defensive linemen fresh, try to control that line of scrimmage. I think they'll keep 5 defensive tackles.
Yeah, I mean that's surprising then because we got B.J. Hill, C.J. Slayton, Chris Jenkins Jr., McKinley Jackson. Who's that 5th?
He's on somebody else's team. And don't forget, McKinley Jackson was playing late in the 4th quarter, that horrible game against the Colts the other day. And from everything I've read, he's in the doghouse. There's been speculation. I know it's Twitter banter. I get it. Even some of the beat writers have said that he's in the doghouse. He's a 3rd-round pick from last year. Jermaine Burton's a 3rd-round pick from last year. That's the ultimate recipe in disaster when you have 3rd-round picks that you cut 1 year after you draft them.
And they're both in the doghouse, Mon.
Yeah,
both of them have been in the doghouse.
Well, Burton is injured. I think he caught a lot of flack. I get it, what happened last year, but man, that's last year. Let's move on. He was definitely re-injured that knee. He's frustrated. I guess there's trust issues there with both of them, reading between the lines. But when you have 3rd-round picks, the 3rd-round picks of your team are supposed to be the core staples of your team. If you're potentially just thinking about letting them go after 1 year, that's bad news. That is really bad news. I'm not saying that's going to happen. A lot of people that I respect on Twitter don't think it's going to happen either. But I don't know.
Well, let me ask you guys, because obviously this list didn't really surprise us. Why don't we talk about tomorrow and what we think is going to happen tomorrow? Again, guys, we are filming this Monday night. So we don't know what is happening right now or what happened early on Tuesday. So let's talk about real quick who we think maybe some surprise cuts tomorrow. Mon, I'll start with you. What do you think might be 1 or 2 surprise cuts tomorrow, or maybe 1 or 2 surprise guys that make the football team? What do you think?
Good question. I just mentioned one guy that there's been a lot of discussion about disappointing in camp. McKinley Jackson. I hope it's not the case. I think we all know Tinsley's going to make the team. I think Burton's going to be wide receiver 6. They keep 6 wide receivers. Surprise cut. Man, it's really going to depend on what's happening right now with other teams. There's a running back, a 3rd-round pick, I believe, from last year from Notre Dame that just got cut from Detroit. And not Detroit, Denver. And highly thought of, had a productive rookie year with the Broncos. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. Could the Bengals put in a claim for him? He's young. He's big. Guess what? Maybe P. Ryan's gone. I know P. Ryan, the coaching staff, loves him. He knows the offense. He can pass protect. I'm telling you right now, running back number 2 is going to end up being Brooks. He's going to be the guy that's going to be getting most of the carries. So little things like that. When we look at 31 other teams releasing players, there might be a player that the Bengals are like, hey, man, he's a lot better than this guy. That's where the surprise cuts might come in on Wednesday. All right. I don't know. I think it's going to be a really fluid situation. I think that surprise cut that you're talking about could happen on a Wednesday.
Eric, what do you think?
I don't know that there is a surprise cut. They really don't. Cam Grandy is pretty much it to me. And that's a surprise only because he did play last year. But that tight end room has gotten very crowded at this point. Noah Fant's there, Mike Gesicki's there. We know what Drew Sample brings. And they've really proven that they love Tanner Hudson. So to me, I'm expecting Cam Grandy and Tanner McLaughlin to be out. Maybe they make it back to the practice squad. You kind of got to be happy with that being your surprise because you're not losing starting value. You're losing, a fifth, sixth tight end. Other than that, based on what we've heard, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if we went away from Cal Adamitis, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised because if they're neck and neck, sometimes you go with the younger guy who's going to have a smaller contract than his rookie. So maybe we could see William Wagner making this team, and Cal Adamitis is headed off to the sunset. I don't know. You got to be happy with that, though.
I'm going to be shocked if Howard Cross makes his team. I'm going to tell you right
He's
now.
making it. It's done. He's made it.
I'm going to be floored if he makes his team. There's no way he has shown enough to make this roster. There's just not. I'm going to say – go ahead.
Let me throw this at you because I know this is your guy. Did the Bengals dodge a bullet with Dejon Anthony? Is he going to make the roster, or is he going to? Did they dodge a bullet and they could put him on IR to return?
You just stole my thunder, Eric. You just stole my thunder. I think he's getting cut. I think Dejon Anthony will not be on this roster.
Yeah, but if he's injured, they get to dodge that one.
They do. I guess they kind of get out of it. But I don't think he was going to make this team. Dejon Anthony was playing well into that Colts game, like Mon said, with some of these other guys. He was well into that game. I don't think Dejon Anthony makes this roster. I think there is a safety that the Bengals, Mon talked about the Bengals going on the waiver wires. I think there's a safety that is not on this team yet that will be on this team come Wednesday, and his name is not Dejon Anthony. I do not think he makes this roster. But as far as surprise go, I mean, I'm with you on the Grandy thing. I don't think he makes his team. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises. I do think it's going to be interesting to see what happens at linebacker, right? So you have, to me, that's one of the most interesting positions because obviously you have Knight and Wilson and Carter. After that, Burks, I would say, right?
Absolutely.
And then after that, we're down to Meta, Hayward. I mean, there's some interesting things at play here.
Shaka Hayward's a lock. He was captain for the Colts.
Then Meta's not making this team, right?
He's not. No, he'll be up. He'll be on the practice squad.
Yeah, I think John Meta is a practice squad player this year. Shaka
Unless
Hayward
they keep six.
Yeah.
Giles Harris could be the sixth guy. The Bengals could keep six linebackers.
And this is the other reason why I think that Dejon Anthony could be in trouble is Jules. PJ Jules looked really good, guys. He was thumping people. He's flying
Dejon
around
Anthony.
football. If Howard Cross makes this team, there is no way Jules doesn't make this team because Jules showed a lot more than Howard Cross as far as I'm concerned, Mon. Go ahead.
No, Dejon Anthony's going to go on IR designation to return. He has a hamstring issue. I really think that they're not going to give up on him. If Tyson Anderson is going to be the key reserve safety, it's going to play a lot of snaps. He can't play special teams. They need athletic people to play special teams, and Dejon Anthony will take over the Tyson Anderson role and be a core special teamer. So I think Dejon Anthony is going to be IR. I think Burton will be IR too because of his knee issue. That'll be about 6 weeks. Then the Bengals have 3 weeks after that to determine if they want to activate him. If not, they can put him on IR or waive them then. So that buys them a couple months to see where they're at. But that does free up a couple roster spots, though. That's where that waiver wire comes in. That's where PJ Jules comes in. PJ Jules, I don't know if he's a great safety, but I can tell you this. I know he's a hitter.
Yeah.
I know he's got an attitude.
I like his attitude, right? Like,
yes,
that's what you want at that position. You want that that attitude of just thumping people. I like Jules. I really do. I think Jules has a chance to make this roster. Let me ask you this. I know we got to get out of here soon, but let me throw this out here. Mike Hilton gets waived today. Is there a chance, any chance, that Mike Hilton is a Bengal on Wednesday, Mon?
Mon's heart says yes. I would love it. I really would. It's probably not going to happen, but I think we floated this out months ago. Why not make him into a safety? Bob Sanders was a smaller safety that was, knocking people out for the Colts. Mike Hilton is physical. He's not afraid to hit people. I think he was our second best defensive player last year.
I do too.
I really do. So have him come in and play as an extra defensive back, a hybrid safety role. Yeah, he's smaller. He's 185 pounds. I get it. But you know what? He's going to come up and he's going to be a short tackler, something this defense needed big time.
Well, you add.
I would love to see it.
Mon, you add leadership, right? You add leadership to the locker room, and not only that, but he gets waived. So you're definitely going to get him at a hometown discount, I would think, right? I mean, you would think that if the Bengals reached out to him, he would be like, "Hey, let's roll." You know what I mean?
It would be a league minimum. That's the Risner thing. Risner was offered a league minimum according to reports.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons, and he wanted to be guaranteed a starter spot. But Mike Hilton will go down as one of the best all-time Bengal free agent signings. I would love to see him come back. Fingers crossed.
Is Risner going to be a Bengal?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
Eric, what do you think? Risner Bengal?
I want him to be. I wish he was one of those guys that said, you know what, I want to go try and win a ring, and I'll come in and prove to you that I'm going to get this job. But I feel like we're sitting here at the point where he's got some pride to him. He wants to be handed the starting job. He doesn't have time to come in and win it. He should come in and be given that starting job. But at this point, we're not going to give him more than the vet minimum, and that's a hard pill to swallow. I don't know. For Mike Hilton, I think it would take a cornerback going down. And to me, if we lose a cornerback to injury, he's the first guy I'm calling. One of the biggest issues this team had last year was tackling, and he was our best tackler the last 2, 3, 4 years. You can't replace that. Let him play linebacker. I mean, he essentially was a hybrid type linebacker where he was going in there. Him and DJ Reader were the reason that our run defense was so good for so many years. I can't even fathom how many times we watched him take Derrick Henry down. And I'm a little concerned that we're going to be missing that this year. So I don't know.
Listen to this craziness right now. Mon breaking the news of Kenny Pickett being traded. Listen to the Raiders and the Browns. These are the quarterbacks they are paying for this year. Listen to this horrible list. This is who they still are paying this year. Geno Smith, $40 million, right? Well, Geno, we can see that for the Raiders. The Raiders are also paying Jimmy Garoppolo almost $13 million this year of dead money. They're paying Gardner Minshew almost $8 million of dead money. Now they're paying Kenny Pickett almost $3 million, Aiden O'Connell on the roster, and Cam Miller. Listen to what the Browns are doing. Listen, this is the Browns quarterback room right now, guys. Deshaun Watson at $36 million, Joe Flacco at $3 million, Jameis Winston they're paying still with a little over $2 million of dead money, Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. Good Lord. Those are two just pathetic franchises. You look at those two, what those two teams have done at the quarterback position, and it is really hard to fathom and makes us very thankful, right, for the situation in Cincinnati for sure.
Yeah, like I said, we need to be, we sit here and talk about concerns and frustrations about the Bengal front office. They haven't added this, they haven't added that. I'll tell you what they did add. They added Joe Burrow a few years ago. Yeah. We're lucky to have him because I think there's about 7 to 8 really good elite NFL quarterbacks. We have one of those guys, and I think those are the guys that are going to be dominating on Super Bowl Sunday. And we have one of those 8 players. and we just got to do our best to add the pieces around to protect him and to allow him to get us that championship. And I think he will eventually.
Agreed. Well, again, guys, we'll be back this week to talk about all of those roster cuts and the roster moves. So we have more Bengal Pulse for you this week. Again, we just wanted to talk a little bit about the Trey Hendrickson situation and that first round of cuts. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us this morning. Again, we're all very excited, I know, to see what happens tomorrow and Wednesday. Mon, before we get out of here, our Cincinnati Reds, 1.5 games back in the wild card, 3-game series against the Dodgers. How is this thing going to shake out? The Mets have kind of crumbled a little bit. What do you think? We got a chance at this?
I hope so. The Reds are just they're a hot mess. They really are. I mean, they lose games they should have easily won, and then they end up pulling some games out that they shouldn't have. But this road series is not easy. It's tough.
Yeah.
And playing in Los Angeles is not easy. They got to get at least 2 of them. They got to get 2 of these games and come back to Cincinnati. I'd love to see them win 12 out of the next 16. That would be huge. Something like that. 12 out of 15.
If that happens, they make the playoffs for sure.
They do make the playoffs. They'll probably play the Phillies. I'm not sure how that's going to break out. But I want them to have, if they make it to the wild cards round, I want them to at least have home field advantage or, most of those have 2 games in Cincinnati. It's a 3-game series in the wild card, is it not?
It's is it best of 3?
I'm not sure. It might be.
Remember, it was originally it was 1, right? It was just
it was.
I think
win and you're in, play in.
I think it's best of 3 now, but dude, that Milwaukee Brewers series, that's the one that just broke my heart. That should have been a 3-game sweep of the hottest team in baseball, and they end up blowing those first 2 games. But hopefully we're going to be talking about little Reds playoff baseball coming up here. Hunter Green going tonight for the Cincinnati Reds against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. Not tonight, this morning. I keep forgetting that this is going to be dropped. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. As always, guys, if you like this podcast, make sure you give us that 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate that. Follow Mon on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at CoachJakeOwens9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter at CincinnatiPod. And as always, guys, follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at The Bengals Pulse. The same on Instagram without the @ The Bengals Pulse. And as always, guys, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Cincinnati Podcast Network. He is Mon. He is Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hoo day, Bengal fans. We'll see you soon.